definitely on time. Okay, so this is good to know. We're half an hour later than when I scheduled this stream, and I was still able to go live on it, so that's great. It does not become obsolete. Let me just change the settings on my mic a little bit. Alright, how is that sounding, you guys? Hi, Mixed Boy, good to see you. Okay, hello, YouTube. We are live here again. Sean, thank you so much for putting that comment in the chats of both the YouTube streams. Let me pin those. Okay, so now in over on YouTube and on Twitch, there is a pinned comment that you can find to where you can access the book that we're reading for absolutely free. You had both of them open for you and live over there, and they're still not doing anything. Okay. Let me know. It says that they're working. Let me see if I have gotten... Yeah, it says that they're live. Let's see. Yep, I got alerts sent to my phone that, yep, they're working for me. You might just have to refresh. Yeah. That's not good, yeah. Okay. You have to go, Badge? Okay, Mark, thank you for hanging out. Good to see you. Have a good sleep. Red Sea, you've been running off 1 to 3 hours of sleep because your body's not used to this. Oh my god, that's so tough. Oof. Oof. Oh man. Okay. We are jumping back into the Odyssey, and I think shit's about to go down in this chapter. I think. Because Odysseus has made his way back to Ithaca. And he sleeps so soundly during the voyage back. The Phaeacians give him a ride, despite the fact that he tells them that Poseidon hates his guts, and despite the fact that they are, like, you know, worshippers of Poseidon and blessed by Poseidon to be amazing seafarers. Wait, the nautical menace. Hello, welcome to chat. Hello. Yeah, speaking of nautical menaces, Poseidon is pretty angry that that they gave Odysseus a ride. And so he's like, well, okay, I'm gonna kill them on their way back. On their way back home. How dare they do this? And then Zeus is like, you know what, bro? You know what would be even more harsh than just, like, drowning them at sea? Wait till they're, like, within sight of their island. Like, people can see them coming. And then just turn their ship into stone in front of everyone's eyes, and then bury the whole town under a mountain. And Poseidon's like, you know what? It's got flair. I like it. Now, apparently, this was something that was prophesied a while ago. So some of the people on land, they see this happening, and there's like some old timer or whatever being like, oh no, that was a prophecy. You know, basically like, the ship has been turned into stone. The next step, our whole town's gonna be buried under the fucking mountain. Quick, start slaughtering all the cattle, all the sheep. Let's make some big sacrifices to Poseidon to try to appease his ego. So that's what they're doing. Meanwhile, in Ithaca, Odysseus wakes up unaware that these lovely people who gave him a ride are all facing imminent death on his account. And a little bit pissed off because he thinks that they've just dumped him on a random island because he doesn't recognize Ithaca. To be fair, they put him in a random little cave. And he didn't recognize it. So he's like, well, shit, what do I do? Like, do I go into town? Do I try to find someone? But, like, they offloaded all my riches and goods here, and I don't want to leave those, because what if someone, like, steals all my shit? And then, who should wander up to him but Athena, yet again in the form of another man? She's a real king, you know? So she goes up to him in the form of a like hot young fashionable dude, I think it said. You know, I'm paraphrasing. And Odysseus is asking what island it is, or where he is. It even an island? Where is he? And he says Ithaca. And he ends up telling this huge fucking lie, this like massive lie. Ithaca is like on an island, and it doesn't seem to be like, they do a lot of like sheep farming there. I think it's quite rocky. I don't know. But also is like, it's not tiny. Like they've got a decent population, I think. Yeah, he starts telling the most elaborate lie. We were like, bro, like, you don't need to add this much. Just be like, cool, my name's George. Like, you don't have to. Anyways, whatever. So then she's like, yeah, nice try. I'm Athena, and I know exactly who you are. Don't lie to me. And he's like, oh, okay. And she's like, look, this is what we have to do. We need to infiltrate your house because the suitors that want to marry your wife are just wrecking it. And if they see you and know that it's you, they're going to kill you because they want to marry your wife and take your house. They are also planning to kill your son Telemachus, who's visiting right now with Menelaus, trying to get word of whether you've perished or not. So she turns Odysseus into a shriveled old man and gives him like gross, stinky clothes and makes him basically like someone people don't want to be near. And then she's like, you go talk. Oh wait, did she say? Go talk to like some servants or whatever. Go to the swineherd who's in charge of your pigs, and stay with him and find out how things are going. So that's his instructions. She, meanwhile, is gonna go and find Telemachus, who again is currently visiting with Menelaus in Lacedaemon, so that she can get him home, hopefully safely, because some of the suitors are lying in wait aboard their own ship, waiting to kill Telemachus on his way home. They all want I was gonna say Penelope's name and then put Odyssey on the end, but then I realized that with the P in there, it just would have been a little too on the nose. They all want Penelope, let's just say that. So we're going to be picking up with book 14, chapter 14. If you're following along, that's where we're at. Hi, JC, good to see you. Okay. In the movie Road Trip. Thank you, Fish. That's really flavorful information. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, let's look up this name of this swineherd. Eumaeus is my guess, but it might be Eumaeus. Also, we're gonna turn off the fireplace, because I have had the fireplace off in all the rest of these readings. If I keep asking you what? 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 Yes, I have been double checking my pronunciation for certain names. I think I've got like above 50% success rate in guessing. Hold on, let me see. Let me see, what is this?
Eumaeus.
Eumaeus. Alright. Which was my first guess. Heck yeah. Okay. Alright. Splendid. Book 14. Wait, I need this on. I don't know if it helps. I feel like it helps. Okay. Hold on. Also, wait. Sorry, I'm so scattered. I'm having a rough time of things. I wanted to also say thank you to anyone who is able to open up the YouTube stream like in another window or tab. One of the goals that I'm working on this year is hopefully getting accepted into the YouTube partner program, and the two kind of metrics that you have to hit is subscriber count, which is the free option over on YouTube, and also watch hours. And if you are able to watch the stream live, those live hours also help towards those watch hours, as well as like watching the VODs after the fact. They both count. So yay, just an easy way for people to, like, even if you're chatting in Twitch, just like having it open is amazingly helpful. Hi, hello you guys. Hi Banana both on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you so much. Okay, all right, you're watching live. Heck yeah. Oh my god, Fidge. That was the most dad joke. Okay. Epic Tales commence. The Odyssey, Book 14. Oh, JC, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Odysseus in the hut with Eumaeus. Odysseus now left the haven and took the rough track up through the wooded country and over the crest of the mountain till he reached the place where Athena had said that he would find the swineherd. Not kissing. It's not what they're doing in the hut. Hi Scott, good to see you. Where Athena had said he would find the swineherd, who was the most thrifty servant he had. He found him sitting in front of his hut, which was by the yards that he had built on a site which could be seen from far. He had made them spacious and fair to see, with a free run for the pigs all round them. He had built them during his master's absence, of stones which he had gathered out of the ground, without saying anything to Penelope or Laertes, and he had fenced them on top with thorn bushes. Outside the yard he had run a strong fence of oaken posts, split and set pretty close together, while inside he had built 12 sties near one another for the sows to live in. Oh, for the sows to lie in. There were 50 pigs wallowing in each sty, all of them breeding sows. But the boars slept outside and were much fewer in number, for the suitors kept on eating them, and the swineherd had to send them the best he had continually. There were 360 boar pigs, and the herdsman's 4 hounds, which were as fierce as wolves, slept always with them. The swineherd was, at that moment, cutting out a pair of sandals from a good stout ox hide. 3 of his men were out herding the pigs in one place or another, and he had sent the 4th to town with a boar that he had been forced to send the suitors, that they might sacrifice it and have their fill of meat. Jerry, thank you for the follow. Hello, hello. I read Pyramid. Hi, Dot. Yes, the YouTube stream should be available in both landscape and portrait mode. Yep. Dot, it looks like you're in the vertical one, yeah. We got it figured out. How long has he been away? Does it say the exact number of years? We know that he left when Telemachus was like a baby, and Telemachus is now a young man. So, I don't know if it's been like a full 20 years, but give or take. Yeah. I would say it's been at least 15, right? When the hounds saw Odysseus, they set up a furious barking and flew at him. But Odysseus was cunning enough to sit down and loose his hold of the stick that he had in his hand. Still, he would have been torn by them in his own homestead had not the swineherd dropped his ox hide, rushed full speed through the gate of the yard, and driven the dogs off by shouting and throwing stones at them. Then he said to Odysseus, "Old man, the dogs were likely to have made short work of you, and then you would have gotten me into trouble. The gods have given me quite enough worries about that, for I have lost the best of masters, and am in continual grief on his account. I have to attend swine for other people to eat, while he, if he yet lives to see the light of day, is starving in some distant land. But come inside, and when you've had your fill of bread and wine, tell me where you come from, and all about your misfortunes." Bro, what a genuinely kind man. What the heck? Oh, Jerry, thank you. I'm glad you think so. 10 years in the Trojan War, 10 years getting home. Is that it, Sage? Okay. Thank you. Ah. Okay. On this, the swineherd led the way into the hut and bade him sit down. He strewed a good thick bed of rushes upon the floor, and on the top of this he threw a shaggy chamois skin, a great thick one, on which he used to sleep by night. Odysseus was pleased at being made thus welcome, and he said, wait, so Odysseus is in the form of an old man, so he would have an old man voice right now, right? Was pleased at being made thus welcome, and said, "May Zeus, sir, and the rest of the gods grant your heart's desire in return for the kind way in which you have received me." To this. Wait, what? Oh, this is so weird. The author is starts addressing Eumaeus here, which is something that has never happened in this whole story to any other character. That's really weird. Okay, sorry. To this, you answered, O swineherd Eumaeus, "Stranger, though a still poorer man should come here, it would not be right for me to insult him. For all strangers and beggars are from Zeus. You must take what you can get, and be thankful, for servants live in fear when they have young lords for their masters. And this is my misfortune now, for heaven has hindered the return of him who would have been always good to me, and given me something of my own, a house, a piece of land, a good-looking wife, and all else that a liberal master allows a servant who has worked hard for him, and whose labor the gods have prospered, as they have mine in the situation which I hold. If my master had grown old here, he would have done great things by me. But he is gone. Ugh, and I wish that Helen's whole race were utterly destroyed, for she has been the death of many a good man. It was this matter that took my master to Ilius, the land of noble steeds, to fight the Trojans in the cause of King Agamemnon. As he spoke, he bound his girdle round him and went to the sties where the young sucking pigs were penned. He picked out 2, which he brought back with him, and sacrificed. He singed them, cut them up, and spitted them. When the meat was cooked, he brought it all in and set it before Odysseus, hot and still on the spit, whereon Odysseus sprinkled it over with white barley meal. The swineherd then mixed wine in a bowl of ivy wood, and, taking a seat opposite Odysseus, told him to begin. "Fall to, stranger," said he, "on a dish of servant's pork. The fat pigs have to go to the suitors, who eat them up without shame or scruple. But the blessed gods love not such shameful doings, and respect those who do what is lawful and right, or even the fierce freebooters who go raiding on other people's land, and Zeus gives them their spoil. Even they, when they have filled their ships and got home again, live conscience-stricken, and look fearfully for judgment. But some god seems to have told these people that Odysseus is dead and gone. They will not, therefore, go back to their own homes and make their offers of marriage in the usual way, but waste his estate by force, without fear or stint. Not a day or night comes out of heaven, but they sacrifice not 1 victim, nor 2 only, but they take the run of his wine, for he was exceedingly rich. No other great man either in Ithaca or on the mainland is as rich as he was, or he had as many as 20 men put together. I will tell you what he had. Oh, this swineherd has needed to get this off his chest for a while. I feel like he's needed a good rant. Snigdagosh, thank you for the sub over on YouTube. Thank you. Yeah, he needed to unburden himself of these feelings. I will tell you what he had. There are 12 herds of cattle upon the mainland, and as many flocks of sheep. There are also 12 droves of pigs, while his own men and hired strangers feed him 12 widely spreading herds of goats. Here in Ithaca, he runs even large flocks of goats on the far end of the island, and they are in the charge of excellent goat herds. Each one of these sends the suitor the best goat in the flock every day. As for myself, I am in the charge of the pigs that you see here, and I have to keep picking out the best I have and sending it to them. This was the end of his story, but Odysseus went on eating and drinking ravenously without a word, brooding his revenge. When he had eaten enough and was satisfied, the swineherd took the bowl from which he usually drank, filled it with wine, and gave it to Odysseus, who was pleased, and said as he took it in his hands, "My friend, who was this master of yours that bought you and paid for you, so rich and so powerful as you tell me? You say he perished in the cause of King Agamemnon. Tell me who he was, in case I may have met with such a person. Zeus and the other gods know, but I may be able to give you news of him, for I have traveled much." Very important job to be in charge of the pigs. Eumaeus answered, "Old man, no traveler who comes here with news will get Odysseus's wife and son to believe his story. Nevertheless, tramps in want of a lodging keep coming with their mouths full of lies, and not a word of truth. Every one who finds his way to Ithaca goes to my mistress and tells her falsehoods, whereon she takes them in, makes much of them, and asks them all manner of questions, crying all the time, as women will when they have lost their husbands. And you too, old man, for a shirt and a cloak would doubtless make up a very pretty story. But the wolves and birds of prey have long since torn Odysseus to pieces, or the fishes of the sea have eaten him, and his bones are lying buried deep in sand upon some foreign shore. Ah, he is dead and gone, and a bad business it is for all his friends, for me especially. Go where I may, I shall never find so good a master, not even if I were to go home to my mother and father where I was bred and born. I do not so much care, however, about my parents now, though I should dearly like to see them again in my own country. It is the loss of Odysseus that grieves me most. I cannot speak of him without reverence, though he is here no longer, for he was very fond of me, and took such care of me that wherever he may be, I shall always honor his memory. Fucking women crying over their missing husbands. Such a womanly thing to do. My friend, replied Odysseus, you are very positive and very hard of belief about your master's coming home again. Nevertheless, I will not merely say, but will swear that he is coming. Do not give me anything for my news till he is actually come. You may then give me a shirt and cloak of good wear, if you will. I am in great want, but I will not take anything at all till then. For I hate a man, even as I hate hellfire, who lets his poverty tempt him into lying. I swear, by King Zeus, by the rites of hospitality, and by that hearth of Odysseus to which I have now come, that all will surely happen as I have said it will. Odysseus will return in this self-same year. With the end of this moon and the beginning of the next, he will be here to do vengeance on all those who are ill-treating his wife and son. Hi, Phoenix. Seems like they're less guests and more invaders. Yeah, oh no, they're being insanely rude, the suitors. Yeah. Hi, Phoenix. To this you answered, O swineherd Eumaeus, old man, you will neither get paid for bringing good news, nor will Odysseus ever come home. Drink your wine in peace, and let us talk about something else. Do not keep on reminding me of all this. It always pains me when anyone speaks about my honored master. Eumaeus? You're kind of the one who brought it up and talked about it a lot. Okay. The suitors are guessed the way Nim is a pet. Sometimes I feel like Nim is just like a piranha. And I'm worried she'll become so hungry that she'll eat my toes when I'm in the kitchen. A piranha. Yeah. I wouldn't put it past her. Okay. As for your oath, we will let it alone. But I only wish he may come, as do Penelope, his old father Laertes, and his son Telemachus. I am terribly unhappy too about this same boy of his. He was running up fast into manhood, and bade fair to be no worse man, face and figure, than his father. But someone, either god or man, has been unsettling his mind. So he has gone off to Pylos to try to get news of his father, and the suitors are lying in wait for him as he is coming home, in the hope of leaving the house of Arcesius, without a name in Ithaca. But let us say no more about him, and leave him to be taken, or else to escape, if the son of Cronus holds his hand over him to protect him. And now, old man, tell me your own story. Tell me also, for I want to know who you are and where you come from. Tell me of your town and parents, what manner of ship you came in, how crew brought you to Ithaca, and from what country they profess to come, for you cannot have come by land. You don't need them that bad. I'd rather not lose them, you know? There's something really weird about one of my little piggies eating up my little piggies. Odysseus is king, but his dad's alive. I don't know how that works. I'm not sure. I don't think Odysseus is a king. He's just like the kind of chief dude on the island. This is empty. Jeez. Laertes is dead? What? But the swineherd just said that his father Laertes hopes that he'll be coming home. Yeah, he owns Ithaca. I don't think he's a king. Also, I don't think the suitors are trying to be king by marrying Penelope. I think Penelope... Because Penelope wouldn't inherit the estate, but she's rich on her own, I think, and like desirable on her own. He is king? Okay. Because they kept telling Telemachus to send Penelope back to her father so her father could marry her off again. And with Odysseus dead, then Odysseus's estate would be passed down to Telemachus, right? I don't know what happens in the event if Telemachus is also killed. I don't really know how inheritance works in Ithaca. Envelope. All right. And Odysseus answered, I will tell you all about it. If there were meat and wine enough, we could stay here in the hut with nothing to do but to eat and drink while the others go to their work. I could easily talk on for a whole 12 months without ever finishing the story of the sorrows with which it has pleased heaven to visit me. Hi Mona, hello. Have we read the Iliad on stream? No, we haven't. I know it kind of would make a bit more sense to read the Iliad first. We decided to go for the Odyssey, but I would be down to read the Iliad in the near future. Yeah. But welcome, it's good to have you here. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Alright, so yes, so Odysseus is still in the disguise of an old man. Okay. Okay, and we've seen how good Odysseus is with just like lying. That whole story that he told Athena when Athena was disguised as yet another man was crazy and elaborate. So let's see what story, what complex lies he comes up with here. The Odyssey is more fun. I am by birth a Cretan. Wait. Sorry. I know that must mean like from Crete, but I never thought about how someone from Crete would be a Cretan. That sucks. That would suck to be called a cretin. Okay. Okay. I am by birth a Cretan. My father was a well-to-do man who had many sons born in marriage, whereas I was the son of a slave whom he had purchased for a concubine. The lie is already so elaborate. Like, Odysseus, you're being wasted as a soldier. You should have been a bard. Your sister's technically a lesbian. She's from Lesbos. That's awesome. Nevertheless, my father, Castor, son of Hylax, whose lineage I claim and who was held in the highest honor among the Cretans for his wealth, prosperity, and the valor of his sons, put me on the same level with my brothers who had been born in wedlock. When, however, death took him to the house of Hades, his sons divided his estate and cast lots for their shares. But to me they gave a holding and little else. Nevertheless, my valor enabled me to marry into a rich family, for I was not given to bragging or shirking on the field of battle. It is all over now. Still, if you look at the straw, you can see what the ear was, for I have had trouble enough, and to spare. Ares and Athena made me doughty in war. When I had picked my men to surprise the enemy with an ambuscade, I never gave death so much as a thought, but was the first to leap forward and spear all whom I could overtake. Such was I in battle, but I did not care about farm work, nor the frugal home life of those who would bring up children. My delight was in ships, fighting, javelins and arrows, things that most men shudder to think of. But one man likes one thing, and another another, and this was what I was most naturally inclined to. Before the Achaeans went to Troy, 9 times was I in command of men and ships on foreign service, and I amassed much wealth. I had my pick of the spoil in the first instance, and much more was allotted to me later on. He dual-classed, he really did. This dude is lying without breaking a sweat. This is crazy storytelling. Odysseus would do numbers as a corrupt state-level politician with this web, right? Like, it's coming so easily to him. It's a bit alarming. Oh my god. Is Odysseus in drag too? He has your crone voice. Athena has turned him into an old man. And something I feel very strongly about is that when people are changed into different bodies, they would have different voices. It always bothers me in movies when someone is like transformed into a different body, but their own voice comes out. That's not how it works. The shape of your vocal cords and everything affects your voice. All old people are unisex and phallic. I mean, really old people, it starts to blur together. But no, my old lady voice is a little more high-pitched. It's a little more high-pitched, dearie. My favorite Faolkor reading quote is "but." And just the word "but." That is an accurate representation of a woman, Maddie. Who was I talking about there? Was I talking about Shadowheart? That might be about Shadowheart. I don't know. Okay. Let's read more of his. Don't call her Shart. That's my girlfriend you're talking about. Okay. My house grew apace, and I became a great man among the Cretans. But when Zeus counseled that terrible expedition, in which so many perished, the people required me and Idomeneus to lead their ships to Troy, and there was no way out of it, for they insisted on our doing so. There we fought for 9 whole years. But in the 10th we sacked the city of Priam, and sailed home again as heaven dispersed us. Then it was that Zeus devised evil against me. I spent but 1 month happily, with my children, wife, and property, and then I conceived the idea of making a descent on Egypt. So I fitted out a fine fleet and manned it. I had 9 ships, and the people flocked to fill them. Oh, for 6 days I and my men made feast, and I found them many victims, both for sacrifices to the gods and for themselves. But on the 7th day we went on board and set sail from Crete with a fair north wind behind us. Though we were going down a river, nothing went ill with any of our ships, and we had no sickness on board, but sat where we were and let the ships go as the wind and steersman took them. On the 5th day, we reached the river Aegyptus. There I stationed my ships in the river, bidding my men stay by them and keep guard over them, while I sent out scouts to reconnoiter from every point of vantage. But the men disobeyed my orders, took to their own devices, and ravaged the land of the Egyptians, killing the men and taking their wives and children captive. What are you doing, Odysseus? What is this story? What What are you doing? This is so unnecessary. Yeah. He is fusing it into his own story, yes. Alexa, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. This is, because then they leave the river, right? But then they get stuck in the doldrums. No, that's Menelaus. That was Menelaus, right? They had to go back to Egypt to, make better hecatombs to the gods. Okay. The alarm was soon carried to the city, and when they heard the war cry, the people came out at daybreak, till the plain was filled with horsemen and foot soldiers and the gleam of armor. And Zeus spread panic among my men, and they would no longer face the enemy, for they found themselves surrounded. The Egyptians killed many of us, and took the rest alive to do forced labor for them. Zeus, however, put it in my mind to do thus, and I wish I had died then and there in Egypt instead, for there was much sorrow in store for me. I took off my helmet and shield, and dropped my spear from my hand. Then I went straight up to the king's chariot, clasped his knees, and kissed them, whereon he spared my life, bade me get into his chariot, and took me, weeping, to his own home. Many made at me with their ashen spears, and tried to kill me in their fury, but the king protected me, for he feared the wrath of Zeus, the protector of strangers, who punishes those who do evil. I stayed there for 7 years, and got together much money among the Egyptians, for they all gave me something. But when it was now going on for 8 years, there came a certain Phoenician, a cunning rascal, who had already committed all sorts of villainy, and this man talked me over into going with him to Phoenicia. where his house and his possessions lay. I stayed there for a whole 12 months. But at the end of that time, when months and days had gone by till the same season had come round again, he set me on board a ship bound for Libya, on a pretense that I was to take a cargo along with him to that place, but really that he might sell me as a slave and take the money I fetched. I suspected his intention, but I went on board with him, for I could not help it. Can you imagine being the swineherd? Day in, day out, you're taking care of pigs, and you're just sat here now listening to this story? You'd just be like mesmerized. This is like the juiciest shit ever. Zeus never made a move on Penelope? I guess not. I guess not. Or maybe he did. We don't know. The ship ran before a fresh north wind till we had reached the sea that lies between Crete and Libya. There, however, Zeus counselled their destruction, for as soon as we were well out from Crete and could see nothing but sea and sky, he raised a black cloud over our ship, and the sea grew dark beneath it. Then Zeus let fly with his thunderbolts, and the ship went round and was filled with fire and brimstone as the lightning struck it, while the men fell all into the sea. They were carried about in the water round the ship, looking like so many seagulls. But the god presently deprived them of all chance of getting home again. I was all dismayed. Zeus, however, sent the ship's mast within my reach, which saved my life, for I clung to it and drifted before the fury of the gale. 9 days did I drift, but in the darkness of the 10th night a great wave bore me onto the Thesprotian coast. There Phaidon, king of the Thesprotians, entertained me hospitably, without charging me anything at all, for his son found me when I was nearly dead with cold and fatigue, whereon he raised me by the hand, took me to his father's house, and gave me clothes to wear. There it was that I heard news of Odysseus, for the king told me he had entertained him, and shown him much hospitality while he was on his homeward journey. He showed me also the treasure of gold and wrought iron that Odysseus had got together. Though there was enough to keep his family for 10 generations, so much had he left in the house of King Phaidon. But the king said Odysseus had gone to Dodona, that he might learn Zeus's mind from the god's high oak tree, and know whether after so long an absence he should return to Ithaca openly or in secret. Moreover, the king swore, in my presence, making drink offerings in his own house as he did so, that the ship was by the waterside, and the crew found that should take him to his own country. He sent me off, however, before Odysseus returned, for there happened to be a Thesprotian ship sailing for the wheat-growing island of Dulichium, and he told those in charge of her to be sure and take me safely to King Acastus. These men hatched a plot against me that would have reduced me to the very extreme of misery, for when the ship had got some way out from land, they resolved on selling me as a slave. They stripped me of the shirt and cloak that I was wearing, and gave me instead the tattered old clothes in which you see me now. Oh, the tattered old clouts in which you see me now. Then, towards nightfall, they reached the tilled lands of Ithaca, and there they bound me with a strong rope fast in the ship, while they went on shore to get supper by the seaside. But the gods soon undid my bonds from me, and having drawn my rags over my head, I slid down the rudder into the sea, where I struck out and swam till I was well clear of them, and came ashore near a thick wood in which I lay concealed. Oh, they were very angry at my having escaped, and went searching about for me, till at last they thought it was no further use, and went back to their ship. Well, the gods, having hidden me thus easily, then took me to a good man's door, for it seems that I am not to die yet a while. He can't pretend to be poor, and he also is not doing a great job at pretending to be old. Like, she made him look like a really old man, like, even made it, the way it described his eyes, like, it almost sounded like she was giving him, like, glaucoma or something, you know, like, hazed over eyes, and, like, covered in wrinkles, lost all his hair, like, and yet he's like, yeah, and then I just, like, struck out into the sea and swam ashore, and it's like, did you do that as a really old man? To this you answered, O swineherd Eumaeus, poor unhappy stranger, why, I've found the story of your misfortunes extremely interesting. But that part about Odysseus is not right, and you will never get me to believe it. Why should a man like you go about telling the... Why should a man like you go about telling lies in this way? I know all about the return of my master. The gods, one and all of them, detest him, or they would have taken him before Troy, or let him die with friends around him when the days of his fighting were done. For then the Achaeans would have built a mound over his ashes, and his son would have been heir to his renown. But now the storm winds have spirited him away, we know not whither. As for me, I live out of the way here with the pigs, never go to town unless when Penelope sends for me on the arrival of some news about Odysseus. Then they all sit round and ask questions, both those who grieve over the king's absence and those who rejoice at it because they can eat up his property without paying for it. Now, for my own part, I've never cared about asking anyone else since the time when I was taken in by an Aetolian who had killed a man and come a long way till at last he reached my station, and I was very kind to him. Well, he said he had seen Odysseus with Idomeneus among the Cretans, refitting his ships which had been damaged in a gale. He said Odysseus would return in the following summer or autumn with his men, and that he would bring back much wealth. And now you unfortunate old man, since fate has brought you to my door, do not try to flatter me in this way with vain hopes. It is not for any such reason that I shall treat you kindly, but only out of respect for Zeus, the god of hospitality, as fearing him and pitying you. Faolkor is a swineherd too. I do have some very tiny swine, don't I? Odysseus answered, I see that you are of an unbelieving mind. I have given you my oath, and yet you will not credit me. Let us then make a bargain, and call all the gods in heaven to witness it. If your master comes home, give me a cloak and shirt of good wear, and send me to Dulichium. Is it Dulichium or Dulichium? Or Dulichium? Or... let's see.
Dulichium.
Dulichium. And send me to Dulichium, where I want to go. But if he does not come as I say he will, set your men on to me, and tell them to throw me from yonder precipice, as a warning to tramps not to go about the country telling lies. And a pretty figure I should cut then, replied Eumaeus, both now and hereafter, if I were to kill you after receiving you into my hut and showing you hospitality. I should have to say my prayers in good earnest if I did. But it is just supper time, and I hope my men will come in directly, that we may cook something savory for supper. Thus did they converse, and presently the swineherds came up with the pigs, which were then shut up for the night in their sties, and a tremendous squealing they made as they were being driven into them. But Eumaeus called to his men and said, "Bring in the best pig you have, that I may sacrifice him for this stranger, and we will take toll of him ourselves. We have had enough trouble. We have had trouble enough this long time feeding pigs, while others reap the fruit of our labor." So, do they just sacrifice, like, every animal that they eat? Do they make it a religious sacrifice, or is that just another word for just slaughtering an animal? They're like, well, I'm going to eat this pig anyways, I might as well make it a sacrifice, but does that undermine it being a sacrifice? Is it just an interchangeable word for slaughtering? On this, he began chopping firewood, while the others brought in a fine, fat, 5-year-old boar pig and set it at the altar. Okay, so they did bring it to the altar. Hi, Alexa. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Eumaeus did not forget the gods, for he was a man of good principles. So the first thing he did was to cut bristles from the pig's face and throw them into the fire, praying to all the gods as he did so that Odysseus might return home again. Then he clubbed the pig with a billet of oak, which he had kept back when he was chopping the firewood, and stunned it, while the others slaughtered and singed it. Then they cut it up, and Eumaeus began by putting raw pieces from each joint onto some of the fat. These he sprinkled with barley meal and laid upon the embers. They cut the rest of the meat up small, put the pieces upon the spits, and roasted them till they were done. When they had taken them off the spits, they threw them onto the dresser in a heap. The swineherd, who was a most equitable man, then stood up to give everyone his share. He made 7 portions. One of these he set apart for Hermes, the son of Maia and the nymphs, praying to them as he did so. The others he dealt out to the men, man by man. He gave Odysseus some slices, cut lengthwise, down the loin, as a mark of especial honor, and Odysseus was much pleased. "I hope, Eumaeus," said he, "that Zeus will be as well disposed towards you as I am, for the respect you are showing to an outcast like myself." Okay, so they put a portion aside for the gods. So that's, I guess, part of the sacrifice of it. Sacrifices. No, it always has to be the best pig. Always has to be the best pig. But at a certain point, the best pig would be mediocre, right? To this you answered, O swineherd Eumaeus, "Eat, my good fellow, and enjoy your supper, such as it is. God grants this and withholds that, just as he thinks right, for he can do whatever he chooses." Wait, is that weird for him to say God? Which God? And what is this voice change that you're addressing the reader as the swineherd? This is very odd. Oops, he invented yeah. Well, I'm wondering how faithfully that bit is translated, or if that's Samuel Butler just accidentally sneaking some Christianity in there. Oops, accidental Christianity. Hi, Nick. Oh, thank you for the streak. You're feeling so relaxed in the Dragon's Reading Den. Yay! I'm so glad to hear that. It's like pouring one out for the homies. Yeah, exactly. As he spoke, he cut off the first piece and offered it as a burnt sacrifice to the immortal gods. Then he made them a drink offering, put the cup in the hands of Odysseus, and sat down to his own portion. Mesalius brought them their bread. The swineherd had brought this man on his own account from among the Taphians during his master's absence, and had paid for him with his own money, without saying anything either to his mistress or Laertes. They then laid their hands upon the good things that were before them, and when they had had enough to eat and drink, Mesalius took away what was left of the bread, and they all went to bed after having made a hearty supper. Am I understanding that correctly, that Mesalius is the swineherd's personal slave? He bought him? Hi, Leia. Yeah. Now, the night came on, stormy and very dark, for there was no moon. Did they just pull "It was a dark and stormy night"? Damn. It poured without ceasing, and the wind blew strong from the west, which is a wet quarter. So Odysseus thought he would see whether Eumaeus, in the excellent care he took of him, would take off his own cloak and give it him, or make one of his men give him one. "Listen to me," said he, "Eumaeus, and the rest of you. When I have said a prayer, I will tell you something. It is the wine that makes me talk in this way. Wine will make even a wise man fall to singing. It will make him chuckle and dance, and say many a word that he had better leave unspoken. Still, as I have begun, I will go on. Would that I were still young and strong, as when we got up an ambuscade before Troy. Menelaus and Odysseus were the leaders, but I was in command also." Dude, he cannot leave well enough alone. No, what do you mean you were also in command along with Menelaus and Odysseus? Like, isn't that gonna seem suspicious to Eumaeus that you're changing your story? Hi, Horus. You're the first son of Horus? Horus, son of Horus? Welcome in. Like, first he was saying, oh, I've never met him, but I've heard of him, and now he's saying I was also in command alongside. He can't help bragging. Yes. Okay. But I was in command also, for the other two would have it so. When we had come up to the wall of the city, we crouched down beneath our armor and lay there under cover of the reeds and thick brushwood that grew about the swamp. It came on to freeze with a north wind blowing. The snow fell small and fine, like hoarfrost, and our shields were coated thick with rime. The others had all got cloaks and shirts, and slept comfortably enough with their shields about their shoulders. But I had carelessly left my cloak behind me, not thinking that I should be too cold, and had gone off in nothing but my shirt and shield. When the night was 2/3 through and the stars had shifted their places, I nudged Odysseus, who was close to me, with my elbow, and he at once gave me his ear. "Odysseus," said I, "this cold will be the death of me, for I have no cloak. Some god fooled me into setting off with nothing on but my shirt, and I do not know what to do." Now Odysseus, who was as crafty as he was valiant, hit upon the following plan. "Keep still," he said in a low voice, "or the others will hear you." And then he raised his head on his elbow. "My friends," said he, "I have had a dream from heaven in my sleep. We are a long way from the ships. I wish someone would go down and tell Agamemnon to send us up more men at once." On this, Thoas, son of Andromon, threw off his cloak and set out running to the ships, whereon I took the cloak and lay in it comfortably enough till morning. Would that I were still young and strong as I was in those days, for then some one of you swineherds would give me a cloak both out of goodwill and for the respect due to a brave soldier. But now people look down upon me because my clothes are shabby. Bro, you could have just said, "Hey, do you have a spare cloak?" This seems so sus. Like, Eumaeus has just been, like, grieving Odysseus. And not once did Odysseus, in the disguise of this old man, be like, "I knew Odysseus. I knew him well. We went to battle together." But now he's, like, just... I can't... He's simultaneously an amazing liar and a terrible liar. A spare cloaca? Very cringy. Yeah, he's like, oh, he's so valiant as well. Alright, let's see if they buy it. Let's see if they buy it. And Eumaeus answered, "Old man, you have told us an excellent story, and have said nothing so far but what is quite satisfactory. For the present, therefore, you shall want neither clothing nor anything else that a stranger in distress may reasonably expect. But tomorrow morning you have to shake your own old rags about your body again, for we have not many spare cloaks nor shirts up here, and every man has only one. When Odysseus's son comes home again, he will give you both cloak and shirt, and send you wherever you may want to go." Yeah, very cool story, bro. Yeah, he does not believe him. With this, he got up and made a bed for Odysseus by throwing some goat skins and sheep skins on the ground in front of the fire. Here Odysseus lay down, and Eumaeus covered him over with a great heavy cloak that he kept for a change in case of extraordinarily bad weather. Thus did Odysseus sleep, and the young men slept beside him. But the swineherd did not like sleeping away from his pigs, so he got ready to go outside, and Odysseus was glad to see that he looked after his property during his master's absence. First he slung his sword over his brawny shoulders and put on a thick cloak to keep out the wind. He also took the skin of a large and well-fed goat and a javelin in case of attack from men or dogs. Thus equipped, he went to his rest, where the pigs were camping under an overhanging rock that gave them shelter from the north wind. End of chapter. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Gotta have that javelin. Yep. Well, I feel like, the swineherd Eumaeus is kind of just, he's committed to the bit of treating this impoverished old man well, you know, and he's just like, sure, whatever you say, crazy old man. At least that was an entertaining story. He is kind of lucky, yeah, especially because he was like, yeah, I don't believe you. This is kind of causing me more pain that you keep saying that, like, that Odysseus is coming back. He's like, ugh. Yeah, I would think it was being, like, kind of rude. But, oh well. Eumaeus does seem to be a very caring man. Good moral standards. Speaking of swine. I need to take care of my own little swine. My 2 swine in there. I have to go into the sow pen and give Cloud a feeding, okay? Now, I do apologize that this means a slightly longer break than usual. It'll be under 10 minutes though. I'll try to do it in 5. But 5 to 10 minutes of a break. Very sorry about that. And then we will be back, and I'd like to read another chapter. What do you guys think? You'll start reading poetry. The next chapter is Athena going to fetch Telemachus, and we have not heard about Telemachus in so long, and I really want to read that. Okay? Alright, so let's take a brief break. Hi, Wincho. Hi, good to see you. We will be back soon. Let's see, let's pop up this, and I'll turn on a little bit of music, and I will mute, and I will be back soon. goodness. Okay, let me fix this problem. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. I can fix this. I can fix this. Hi. Can you guys hear me all right? Hello. Hi. Thank you for waiting while I did that. Hello, hello. Sentry. Sentry, thank you for the resub. Oh my goodness. 5 months, Sentry. Thank you so much. How are you doing? And Mr. Fryman, thank you for the follow. Thank you guys so much for being patient while I did that. Yeah, for anyone who came in during the break that needs more context, one of my guinea pigs is not doing very well, and I am needing to feed her by hand regularly around the clock. So had to go and do that. You just woke up, Sindri? Oh, I hope you had a good sleep. Yeah, I don't really, I was saying this earlier, it's kind of, in some ways it seems like Cloud is doing better, and in other ways, maybe worse. It's really hard to say. So, hey Connor, good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Well, I really, really appreciate you guys being so patient about that and understanding. I would love to read another chapter of the Odyssey. Also, I need a little quick, hold on one second. I need a little mush pouch for myself. A little quick snack. And yeah, Zendri, if you are around still after we finish reading, please feel free to call in a name trace or a card pull for that sub. I really, really appreciate it. You must go bed, Fidge? Fidge, thank you so much for hanging out and for all your help. I hope you sleep well. Hope you sleep well. Oh my goodness, thank you for the follow, Unholy Dragon. Oh shit. Oh shit. We got another dragon in here. How's it going, Unholy Dragon? Okay. Alright, cool. Ooh, let's jump into it. Here we go. Ready to go. 12-hour shift. Oh my goodness. Damn. I hope you get to put your feet up and rest a little bit now. Could I interest you in some story time? Fidge, yes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You woke up cold? Oh no. Oh no, despite a heated blanket. Oh, Sindri. Gotta get all toasty again. Okay. So, reminder for those, if anyone would like to read along with me, you can look to the pinned comment in whatever chat you're in, and you'll be able to find a link where you can download this book for free. We are about to start book 15, chapter 15. Yeah. Also, reminder to those in the Twitch chat, if you feel like being extra awesome, if you're able to open up the YouTube stream as well, even if it's just like, you know, way over in the corner of your third monitor or whatever, and you're mainly focused on Twitch, that really helps with the watch hours, to have the live stream open. Yeah, it really helps a lot in hitting those goals. So yeah, okay, cool, let's dive into it then. Book 15. Athena summons Telemachus from Lacedaemon. He meets with Theoclymenus. Well, let's double check if I'm saying that correctly. Theoclymenus. He meets with Theoclymenus at Pylos and brings him to Ithaca. On landing, he goes to the hut of Eumaeus. Hi, Noodles. Good to see you. How's it going? Jonathan, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for opening up the YouTube stream. Okay. But Athena went to the fair city of Lacedaemon to tell Odysseus' son that he was to return at once. She found him and Pisistratus sleeping in the forecourt of Menelaus' house. Pisistratus was fast asleep, but Telemachus could get no rest all night for thinking of his unhappy father. So Athena, I think Athena is not disguising herself this time. Jonathan also on the Twitch, thank you. So Athena went close up to him and said, Telemachus, you should not remain so far away from home any longer, nor leave your property with such dangerous people in your house. They will eat up everything you have among them, and you will have been on a fool's errand. Ask Menelaus to send you home at once if you wish to find your excellent mother still there when you get back. Her father and brothers are already urging her to marry Eurymachus, who has given her more than any of the others and has been greatly increasing his wedding presents. I hope nothing valuable may have been taken from the house, in spite of you, but you know what women are. They always want to do the best they can for the man who marries them, and never give another thought to the children of their first husband, nor to their father either, when he is dead and done with. What the hell, Athena? What is this? Go home, therefore, and put everything in charge of the most respectable woman servant that you have, until it shall please heaven to send you a wife of your own. Let me tell you also of another matter that you had better attend to. The chief men among the suitors are lying in wait for you in the strait between Ithaca and Samos, and they mean to kill you before you can reach home. I do not much think they will succeed. It is more likely that some of those who are now eating up your property will find a grave themselves. Sail, night and day, and keep your ship well away from the islands. The god who watches over you and protects you will send you a fair wind. As soon as you get to Ithaca, send your ship and men onto the town, but yourself go straight to the swineherd who has charge of your pigs. He is well disposed towards you. Stay with him, therefore, for the night, and then send him to Penelope to tell her that you have got back safe from Pylos. The way it sounds like she's blaming him, like, you better get home, as if him going to Menelaus wasn't her idea in the first place. Hi, Floral. Hello. Then she went back to Olympus. But Telemachus stirred Pisistratus with his heel to rouse him and said, "Wake up, Pisistratus, and yoke the horses to the chariot, for we must set off home." But Pisistratus said, "No matter what hurry we are in, we cannot drive in the dark. It will be morning soon. Wait till Menelaus has brought his presents and put them in the chariot for us. Let him say goodbye to us in the usual way. So long as he lives, a guest should never forget a host who has shown him kindness." As he spoke, day began to break, and Menelaus, who had already risen, leaving Helen in bed, came towards them. When Telemachus saw him, he put on his shirt as fast as he could, threw a great cloak over his shoulders, and went out to meet him. "Menelaus," said he, "let me go back now to my own country, for I want to get home." And Menelaus, I don't remember the voice I used for Menelaus. Menelaus answered, "Telemachus, if you insist on going, I will not detain you. I do not like to see a host either too fond of his guest or too rude to him. Moderation is best in all things, and not letting a man go when he wants to do so is as bad as telling him to go if he would like to stay. One should treat a guest well, as long as he is in the house, and speed him when he wants to leave it. Wait, then, till I can get your beautiful presents into your chariot, until you have yourself seen them. I will tell the women to prepare a sufficient dinner for you of what there may be in the house. It will be at once more proper and cheaper for you to get your dinner before setting out on such a long journey. If moreover you have a fancy for making a tour in Hellas or in the Peloponnese, I will yoke my horses and will conduct you myself through all our principal cities. No one will send us away empty-handed. Everyone will give us something, a bronze tripod, a couple of mules, or a gold cup." "Menelaus," replied Telemachus, "I want to go home at once, for when I came away I left my property without protection, and fear that while looking for my father, I shall come to ruin myself, or find that something valuable has been stolen during my absence." "Hi, Cypher. Yeah, what's your question? Welcome in." Also, Badger Master Bunny, hello, hello, good to see you. You're joining to fall back asleep. You had a bad dream. I'm sorry. I hope I can get you back to sleep then. Never mind, carry on. Okay, Cypher. Alright. Okay. When Menelaus heard this, he immediately told his wife and servants to prepare a sufficient dinner from what there might be in the house. At this moment, Eteonius joined him, for he lived close by and had just got up. So Menelaus told him to light the fire and cook some meat, which he at once did. Then Menelaus went down into his fragrant storeroom. Not alone, but Helen went too, with Megapenthes. When he reached the place where the treasures of his house were kept, he selected a double cup, and told his son Megapenthes to bring also a silver mixing bowl. Meanwhile, Helen went to the chest where she kept the lovely dresses which she had made with her own hands, and took out one that was largest and most beautifully enriched with embroidery. It glittered like a star, and lay at the very bottom of the chest. Then they all came back through the house again, till they got to Telemachus. And Menelaus said, "Telemachus, may Zeus, the mighty husband of Hera, bring you safely home according to your desires. I will now present you with the finest and most precious piece of plate in all my house. It is a mixing bowl of pure silver, except the rim, which is inlaid with gold, and it is the work of Hephaestus." Theodymus? Let me double check this. Theodymus? Didn't we hear this before? I feel like we did. Yeah. Yep.
Phidimus.
Okay. Phidimus, king of the Sidonians, made me a present of it in the course of a visit that I paid him while I was on my return home. I should like to give it to you. This is not a flashback. This is not a flashback, no. With these words, he placed the double cup in the hands of Telemachus, while Megapenthes brought the beautiful mixing bowl and set it before him. Hard by stood lovely Helen, with the robe ready in her hand. This isn't Odysseus, this is Telemachus. Telemachus left home to try to find information about Odysseus, and he went first to visit Nestor, and then to visit Menelaus. And now then Athena said, hey, you better get home. Shit's gonna be upended there. So he's trying to get home. And Menelaus is gifting him things. Maybe they mentioned the bowl when he first arrived and feasted with them. I'm not sure. Or maybe it was a similar bowl. I'm not totally sure. Yeah, his dad made it home first. Yeah. Okay. With these words, he placed the double cup in the hands of Telemachus, while Megapenthes brought the beautiful mixing bowl and set it before him. Hard by stood lovely Helen, with the robe ready in her hand. Hi, Moonstar, good to see you. Hi, Gentle Tab. I too, my son, said she, have something for you as a keepsake from the hand of Helen. It is for your bride to wear upon her wedding day. Till then, get your dear mother to keep it for you. Thus may you go back rejoicing to your own country and to your home. So saying, she gave the robe over to him, and he received it gladly. Then Pisistratus put all the presents into the chariot and admired them all as he did so. Presently, Menelaus took Telemachus and Pisistratus into the house, and they both of them sat down to table. A maidservant brought them water in a beautiful golden ewer and poured it into a silver basin for them to wash their hands, and she drew a clean table beside them. An upper servant brought them bread and offered them many good things of what there was in the house. Eteonius carved the meat and gave them each their portions, while Megapenthes poured out the wine. Then they laid their hands upon the good things that were before them. But as soon as they had had enough to eat and drink, Telemachus and Pisistratus yoked the horses and took their places in the chariot. They drove out through the inner gateway and under the echoing gatehouse of the outer court, and Menelaus came after them with a golden goblet of wine in his right hand, that they might make a drink offering before they set out. Hi, Tavka. Hello. He stood in front of the horses and pledged them, saying, "Farewell to both of you. See that you tell Nestor how I have treated you. For he was as kind to me as any father could be, while we Achaeans were fighting before Troy." "We will be sure, sir," answered Telemachus, "to tell him everything as soon as we see him. I wish I were as certain as finding Odysseus returned when I get back to Ithaca, that I might tell him of the very great kindness you've shown me, and of the many beautiful presents I am taking with me." Pinkie Pie Girl, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Hello, hello. As he was thus speaking, a bird flew on his right hand, an eagle with a great white goose in its talons, which it had carried off from the farmyard, and all the men and women were running after it and shouting. It came quite close up to them and flew away on their right hands in front of the horses. When they saw it, they were glad, and their hearts took comfort within them, whereon Pisistratus said, "Tell me, Menelaus, has heaven sent this omen for us or for you?" Menelaus was thinking what would be the most proper answer for him to make. But Helen was too quick for him and said, "I will read this matter as heaven has put it in my heart, and as I doubt not that it will come to you. The eagle came from the mountain where it was bred and has its nest. And in like manner, Odysseus, after having travelled far and suffered much, will return to take his revenge, if indeed he is not back already and hatching mischief for the suitors. May Zeus grant it so, replied Telemachus. If it should prove to be so, I will make vows to you as though you were a god, even though I am at home. As he spoke, he lashed his horses, and they started off at full speed through the town towards the open country. They swayed the yoke upon their necks and travelled the whole day long, till the sun set and darkness was over all the land. Then they reached Pherae, where Diocles lived, who was the son of Ortilochus, the son of Alpheus. There they passed the night and were treated hospitably. When the child of morning, rosy-fingered Dawn, appeared, they again yoked their horses and their places in the chariot. They drove out through the inner gateway and under the echoing gatehouse of the outer court. Then Pisistratus lashed his horses on, and they flew forward, nothing loath. Ere long they came to Pylos, and then Telemachus said, Pisistratus, I hope you will promise to do what I'm going to ask you. You know our fathers were old friends before us. Moreover, we are both of an age, and this journey has brought us together still more closely. Do not, therefore, take me past my ship, but leave me there, for if I go to your father's house, he will try to keep me in the warmth of his goodwill towards me, and I must go home at once. Pisistratus thought how he should do as he was asked, and in the end he deemed it best to turn his horses towards the ship, and put Menelaus's beautiful presents of gold and raiment in the stern of the vessel. Then he said, Go on board at once, and tell your men to do so also before I can reach home to tell my father. I know how obstinate he is, and am sure he will not let you go. He will come down here to fetch you, and he will not go back without you. But he will be very angry. With this he drove his goodly steeds back to the city of the Pylians, and soon reached his home. But Telemachus called the men together and gave his orders. Now, my men, said he, get everything in order on board the ship, and let us set out home. Bruno Fabrice, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. How you doing? Pisistratus sounds like something from a pharmaceutical. Yeah, I have to be careful. Like, it looks like Pisistratus. It's not the greatest name. Two lives are going on in this channel. Yes, Moonstar. I've got this stream available right now in either horizontal or vertical for people who prefer to watch it on their phone like that. Okay. Thus did he speak. And they went on board even as he had said. But as Telemachus was thus busied, praying also and sacrificing to Athena in the ship's stern, there came to him a man from a distant country, a seer, who was flying from Argos because he had killed a man. He was descended from Melampus, who used to live in Pylos, the land of sheep. He was rich and owned a great house, but he was driven into exile by the great and powerful King Neleus. Wait, was it Neleus or Neleus? I feel like we looked this up before, but now I don't remember. It might have been Neleus. It is Neleus. Okay. By the great and powerful King Neleus. Neleus seized his goods and held them for a whole year, during which he was a close prisoner in the house of King Phylacus, and in much distress of mind, both on account of the daughter of Neleus and because he was haunted by a great sorrow that dread Aranis had laid upon him. In the end, however, he escaped with his life, drove the cattle from Phylus to Pylos, and avenged the wrong that had been done him, and gave the daughter of Neleus to his brother. Slipknot Man, hello. Hi, thank you so much for the resub. Very good to see you. How are you doing? Thank you so much for those 8 months. Then he left the country and went to Argos, where it was ordained that he should reign over much people. Much people. Many people. Much people. Oh, thanks, Brent. The concept just of the reading on stream? Or do you mean the concept of the story itself? There he married, established himself, and had 2 famous sons, Antiphates and Mantius. Antiphates became father of Oicleus. It can't be Oicleus.
Oaches.
Okay, but it's spelled different here. This one has a EUS on the end instead of just an ES. So, Oicleus. Oicleus. Antiphates became father of Oicleus, and Oicleus of Amphiaraus. Amphiar. Some are easier to guess than others. Amphiaraus. And Oiocles of Amphiaraus, who was dearly loved both by Zeus and by Apollo, but did not live to an old age, for he was killed in Thebes by reason of a woman's gifts. His sons were Alcmaeon and Amphilochus. Mantius, the other son of Melampus, was father to Polyphetes and Cleitus. Eos, throned in gold, carried off Cleitus for his beauty's sake, that he might dwell among the immortals. But Apollo made Polyphetes the greatest seer in the whole world, now that Amphiaraus was dead. He quarreled with his father and went to live in Hyperesia, where he remained and prophesied for all men. God damn, that paragraph had a lot of tricky names in it. You love the concept of reading on stream? Feels like nice company? I'm very glad you enjoy it. We do this several times a week, so if you're interested, I'll be around doing this. And if you want to check out the YouTube, my YouTube channels have not been around for very long. I am live on there at the moment. The first of the links, just the @Faolkor, is the one with the books on it, but I am starting to build up a collection of books over there. If you wanted to, listen to any that are already posted. Okay. His son, Theoclymenus, it was, who now came up to Telemachus as he was making drink offerings and praying in his ship. Wait, so, okay. This was so confusing. So some dude is on the run. Telemachus has boarded his ship. And a man came to him, and also his son? Or is it only this? That's very confusing. Yeah. I'm just not sure if this is an old man or a young man, so I'll just give him a generic man voice. Yeah, the names broke my brain too. Yeah. His son, Theoclymenus, it was, who now came up to Telemachus as he was making drink offerings and praying in his ship. "Friend," said he, "now that I find you sacrificing in this place, I beseech you, by your sacrifices themselves, and by the God to whom you make them, I pray you also by your own head and by those of your followers, tell me the truth, and nothing but the truth. Who and whence are you? Tell me also of your town and parents." What a weird thing to do, to board a ship and interrupt someone who's obviously about to set out on a voyage and is making, like, prayers and offerings about it, and just interrupt them and be like, "What's your name? What's your story?" It's just a very weird thing to do. Oh, thank you, Anon. I mean, I am definitely messing some of them up. I'm looking some of them up, and then sometimes I look them up, and then the next time it comes up, I've already forgotten and I mess it up again, so that's okay. Telemachus said, "I will answer you quite truly. I am from Ithaca. My father is Odysseus, as surely as that he ever lived. But he has come to some miserable end. Therefore I have taken this ship and got my crew together to see if I can hear any news of him, for he has been away a long time." "I too," answered Theoclymenus, "am an exile, for I've killed a man of my own race. He has many brothers and kinsmen in Argos, and they have great power among the Argives. I'm flying to escape death at their hands, and am thus doomed to be a wanderer on the face of the earth. I am your suppliant. Take me, therefore, on board your ship, that they may not kill me, for I know they are in pursuit." "I will not refuse you," replied Telemachus, "if you wish to join us. Come, therefore, and in Ithaca we will treat you hospitably, according to what we have." Yeah, okay, random murderer who's on the run. Come live with us. Like, with no other context. Yeah, I'm in exile and I'm being hunted because I killed a man. He doesn't say whether it was an accident or intentional. Like, there's no context here. And he's just like, yeah, come with me. You want to be a beggar in ancient Greece? They're making out pretty well, right? On this, he received Theoclymenus' spear and laid it down on the deck of the ship. He went on board and sat in the stern, bidding Theoclymenus sit beside him. Then the men let go the hawsers. Telemachus told them to catch hold of the ropes, and they made all haste to do so. They set the mast in its socket in the cross plank, raised it and made it fast with the forestays, and they hoisted their white sails with sheets of twisted oxhide. Athena sent them a fair wind that blew fresh and strong to take the ship on her course as fast as possible. Thus then they passed by Cruni and Chalcis. Presently the sun set and darkness was over all the land. The vessel made a quick passage to Phae, and thence on to Elis, where the Epeans rule. Elis. Telemachus then headed her for the flying islands, wondering within himself whether he should escape death or should be taken prisoner. Meanwhile, Odysseus and the swineherd were eating their supper in the hut, and the men supped with them. As soon as they had had to eat and drink, Odysseus began trying to prove the swineherd and see whether he would continue to treat him kindly and ask him to stay on at the station or pack him off to the city. Dude, he's acting like the fairy in a lot of fairy tales that, like, disguises herself as a hideous old lady just to see if she's treated well or not. So he said, Eumaeus, and all of you, tomorrow I want to go away and begin begging about the town, so as to be no more trouble to you or to your men. Give me your advice, therefore, and let me have a good guide to go with me and show me the way. I will go the round of the city begging, as I needs must, to see if anyone will give me a drink and a piece of bread. I should like also to go to the house of Odysseus and bring news of her husband to Queen Penelope. I could then go about among the suitors and see if out of all their abundance they will give me a dinner. I should soon make them an excellent servant in all sorts of ways. Listen and believe when I tell you that by the blessing of Hermes, who gives grace and good name to the works of all men, there is no one living who would make a more handy servant than I should. To put fresh wood on the fire, chop fuel, carve, cook, pour out wine, and do all those services that poor men have to do for their betters. The swineherd was very much disturbed when he heard this. "Heaven help me," he exclaimed. "Whatever can have put such a notion as that into your head? If you go near the suitors, you will be undone to a certainty, for their pride and insolence reach the very heavens. Oh, they would never think of taking a man like you for a servant. Their servants are all young men, well-dressed, wearing good cloaks and shirts, with well-looking faces, and their hair always tidy. The tables are kept quite clean and are loaded with bread, meat, and wine. Stay where you are, then. You are not in anybody's way. I do not mind your being here, no more do any of the others. And when Telemachus comes home, he will give you a shirt and cloak, and will send you wherever you want to go." He does keep testing this poor swineherd. You're too ugly to be their servant. Odysseus answered, "I hope you may be as dear to the gods as you are to me, for having saved me from going about and getting into trouble. Oh, there was nothing worse than being always on the tramp. Still, when men have once got low down in the world, they will go through a great deal on behalf of their miserable bellies. Since, however, you press me to stay here and await the return of Telemachus, tell me about Odysseus's mother and his father, whom he left on the threshold of old age when he set out for Troy. Are they still living, or are they already dead and in the house of Hades?" "I will tell you all about them," replied Eumaeus. "Laertes is still living, and praise heaven to let him depart peacefully in his own house, for he is terribly distressed about the absence of his son, and also about the death of his wife, which grieved him greatly and aged him more than anything else did. She came to an unhappy end through sorrow for his son. Oh, may no friend or neighbor who has dealt kindly by me come to such an end as she did. As long as she was still living, though she was always grieving, I used to like seeing her and asking her how she did, for she brought me up along with her daughter, Ctimene. Okay, I need to hold on. This is the craziest name so far. There's a C and a T next to each other. And it's not in here. Ctimene. Hold on. Timony. Timony. But with a silent C in the front. Okay. Timony. That's a great girl's name. It's spelled like this. Timony. I would never have guessed Timony. Alright. For she brought me up along with her daughter Timony, the youngest of her children. And we were boy and girl together, and she made little difference between us. When, however, we both grew up, they sent Timony to Sammy. Sean is stifling dirty jokes? Oh my god. Sammy. They sent Timony to Sammy and received a splendid dowry for her. Well, as for me, my mistress gave me a good shirt and cloak with a pair of sandals for my feet and sent me off into the country. But she was just as fond of me as ever. Ravensburger Junge, hello, welcome. How are you doing? Well, this is all over now. Still, it has pleased heaven to prosper my work and the situation which I now hold. Oh my god, it's Beja Nash. Welcome, Raiders. Hello. Holy moly. How's it going, bae? Hello. I am still reading. Yes, we are reading the Odyssey. Welcome in, Raiders. Oh my god. You guys, make sure you're following Beja Nash. She is so fucking cool. She does a whole bunch of stuff, just chatting streams, gaming streams, just like awesome hangout vibes. Hi, Fatalisk. She's a rude, hungry scoundrel. That too. Go follow the rude, hungry scoundrel. No, definitely drop a follow. Welcome, you guys. Hi, Scoot Pooty. Hi, Black Stars. Thank you for the follow. Vince Vaughn, thank you for the follow. Hi, Big Tom. Hello. How's it going? Welcome in. If any of you are new here, which probably a lot of you are, I'm Faolkor, the book dragon. Oh, girl, go get some snacks. Hell yeah, go get some snacks. Scoop Pooty, thank you for the follow. We read here. We read books. We tell stories. Also, we do traditional ASMR. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We are currently making our way through the Odyssey. I'm having so much fun with it. And then once we're done reading for the night, we'll open up requests for ASMR trigger redeems. Slur Splashy and Jay Kashtana, thank you for the follows. How many piercings do you have? Just the one. This is the only I don't even have my ears pierced. Just this one. Never again. Never again. Oh yes, I am also live over on the YouTube. So, you know, if you feel like watching from over there, that's also an option. Beja, thank you so freaking much. I hope you're getting the yummiest heckin' snacks. I really, really appreciate this amazing raid. It's so awesome to have you guys here. Okay, some of you might be familiar with this story. We're at the point where, okay, Odysseus has seen some shit, man. He has been through it. It's been like a couple of decades now since he left, and he's making his way home, and he's made it back to Ithaca. But he's been disguised as an old man by Athena. So he's hanging out with the swineherd, pretending to be an old man. She's gone to get Telemachus to come home. So the band is almost back together. Oh, you're so nice. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fabs. Thank you. Where am I from? I am from the west coast of Canada. Yep. So this right now is the swineherd. He is talking to Odysseus, but Odysseus looks like an old man. The swineherd has been lamenting the fact that Odysseus, he is sure, is dead and never coming home. And Odysseus keeps being like, no, he will be coming home. And he's like, shut up, old man. No, he's actually being very nice, but he's like, stop it, old man. Like, that makes me sad. And he's like, he'll come home. So, and Athena has told Telemachus, when Telemachus gets back to Ithaca, to go to the same swineherd's hut. Which I'm really interested in that, to see how that plays out, because Odysseus has not seen his son, Telemachus, since Telemachus was like a baby. So, Locatone, thank you for the resub. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. 5 months. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Ravens. Hello. Okay. Have you played Hades yet? No. Oh my god. Dude, I have not. I have heard nothing but glowing reviews of those games. Have you played them? As a dragon, Faol has existed before Canada was founded. It's true. It's true. Yeah. But I mean, the land was here. It just, like, it wasn't Canada yet. Hades is sick as fuck. You'd love him. Ooh. Ew, what the fuck? Circe is in Hades too, with her pigs. Nice. Yeah, we read that bit already. I was saying that, like, they didn't have it that bad, because when she turned them back into men, she made them, like, younger and hotter and healthier than they were before. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Your old man voice usually sounds like they're choking on their mustache. That's hilarious. Oh god. Sure, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to play them myself or just, like, watch a playthrough of them. I don't know. Dude, I would totally be a pig for a couple of weeks if afterwards I could be taller, younger, hotter. Yes. It's been a couple weeks just, like, eating slops and taking mud baths. And then you get to be taller, younger, hotter? Yes. Like, where's the downside? 100%. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is the swineherd talking. Still, it has pleased heaven to prosper my work in the situation which I now hold. I have enough to eat and drink, and can find something for any respectable stranger who comes here. But there's no getting a kind word or deed out of my mistress, for the house has fallen into the hands of wicked people. Servants want sometimes to see their mistress and have a talk with her. They like to have something to eat and drink at the house, and something, too, to take back with them into the country. This is what will keep servants in a good humor. Odysseus answered, Then you must have been a very little fellow, Eumaeus, when you were taken so far away from your home and parents. Tell me true, was the city in which your father and mother lived sacked and pillaged? Or did some enemies carry you off when you were alone tending sheep or cattle? ship you off here and sell you for whatever your master gave them." "Stranger," replied Eumaeus, "as regards your question, sit still, make yourself comfortable, drink your wine, and listen to me." Oh, Eumaeus is buckling down to tell his story. Locaton, thank you for the stream streak. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep those straight. Yeah. I'm really impressed by people that can keep the really long streaks. That is dedication. Hotter, taller, and younger in the underworld. Okay. Well, there's that as an option too. There are a lot of stories within stories. It's true. Yeah. The nights are now at their longest. There is plenty of time, both for sleeping and sitting up talking together. We ought not to go to bed till bedtime. Too much sleep is as bad as too little. If any one of the others wishes to go to bed, let him leave us and do so. He can then take my master's pigs out when he has done breakfast in the morning. We two will sit here eating and drinking in the hut, and telling one another stories about our misfortunes. For when a man has suffered much and been buffeted about in the world, he takes pleasure in recalling the memory of sorrows that have long gone by. As regards your question, then, my tale is as follows. You may have heard of an island called Syra. Let's double check. Oh, it doesn't have it in this list. You're gonna go to bed, Cassiak. Sleep well, sleep well. No, it's spelled Syra. Oh yeah, Logatone, 100%. I would do it. I'm in chronic pain. I was gonna say every day, but then I realized that's completely redundant because that's what chronic means. Okay. You may have heard of an island called Syra that lies over above Ortygia, where the land begins to turn round and look in another direction. And it's not very thickly peopled, but the soil is good, with much pasture fit for cattle and sheep, and it abounds with wine and wheat. Dearth never comes there, nor are the people plagued by any sickness, but when they grow old, Apollo comes with Artemis and kills them with his painless shafts. It contains 2 communities, and the whole country is divided between these 2. My father, Theseus, son of Ormenus, a man comparable to the gods, reigned over both. Now, to this place there came some cunning traders from Phoenicia, for the Phoenicians are great mariners, in a ship which they had freighted with gewgaws of all kinds. There happened to be a Phoenician woman in my father's house, very tall and comely, and an excellent servant. These scoundrels got hold of her one day when she was washing near their ship, seduced her, and cajoled her in ways that no woman can resist, no matter how good she may be by nature. Oh, really? What ways were these? Battle Aiden, hi. Welcome back. How's it going? Okay. Well, the man who had seduced her asked her who she was and where she came from. And on this she told him her father's name. "I come from Sidon," said she, "and am daughter to Arabus, a man rolling in wealth. One day as I was coming into the town from the country, some Taphian pirates seized me and took me here over the sea, where they sold me to the man who owns this house, and He gave them their price for me. They offered her cheese. That is how you fascinate a woman. Yeah. You drink alcohol. No, this is just flavored water, honestly, in a wine glass. Genuinely, just water. The man who had seduced her then said, "Would you like to come along with us and see the house of your parents? And your parents themselves? Well, they are both alive and are said to be well off." "I will do so gladly," answered she, "if you men will first swear me a solemn oath that you will do me no harm by the way." Well, they all swore as she told them, and when they had completed their oath, the woman said, "Hush, and if any of your men meets me in the street or at the well, do not let him speak to me, for fear someone should go and tell my master, in which case he would suspect something. He would put me in prison and would have all of you murdered. Keep your own counsel, therefore. Buy your merchandise as fast as you can and send me word when you have done loading. I will bring as much gold as I can lay my hands on, and there is something else also that I can do towards paying my fare. I am the nurse to the son of the good man at the house, a funny little fellow just able to run about. I will carry him off in your ship, and you will get a great deal of money for him if you take him and sell him in foreign parts." Hi, Casey King. Hi. Well, damn. She's like, "This family bought me as a slave. I'm gonna sell their son as a slave." Very tit for tat, I guess. On this, she went back to the house. Well, the Phoenician stayed a whole year. Look, I know things didn't move as quickly back in the day, but she's like, "Get your shopping done as quickly as possible." And they're like, "Okay, bet." And then take a year to do it? That's a long time to get your gewgaws. The Phoenicians stayed the whole year till they had loaded their ship with much precious merchandise. And then, when they had got fright enough, they sent to tell the woman. Their messenger, a very cunning fellow, came to my father's house bringing a necklace of gold with amber beads strung among it. And while my mother and the servants had it in their hands, admiring and bargaining about it, he made a sign quietly to the woman, and then went back to the ship, whereon she took me by the hand and led me out of the house. On the forepart of the house she saw the table set with the cups of guests who had been feasting with my father, as being in attendance on him. These were now all gone to the meeting of the public assembly, so she snatched up 3 cups and carried them off in the bosom of her dress. Well, I followed her, for I knew no better. Well, the sun was now set and darkness was over all the land, so we hurried on as fast as we could till we reached the harbor, where the Phoenician ship was lying. Now, when they had got on board, they sailed their ways over the sea, taking us with them, and Zeus sent them a fair wind. 6 days did we sail, both night and day. But on the 7th day, Artemis struck the woman, and she fell heavily down into the ship's hold, as though she were a seagull alighting on the water. So they threw her overboard to the seals and fishes, and I was left all sorrowful and alone. Presently the winds and waves took the ship to Ithaca, where Laertes gave sundry of his chattels for me, and thus it was that ever I came to set eyes upon this country. Odysseus answered, "Eumaeus, I have heard the story of your misfortunes with the most lively interest and pity. But Zeus has given you good as well as evil. For in spite of everything, you have a good master who sees that you always have enough to eat and drink, and you live a good life, whereas I am still going about begging my way from city to city. No, you're fucking not, Odysseus. You're in costume, and also, how is that the response? This swineherd should be living like a prince. His parents were like the rulers of this island. Why hasn't he ever gone back? He's a grown adult now. I mean, I guess he was bought by Laertes? Anyway, let the poor man go home. Thus did they converse, and they had only a very little time left for sleep, for it was soon daybreak. In the meantime, Telemachus and his crew were nearing land, so they loosed the sails, took down the mast, and rowed the ship into the harbor. They cast out their mooring stones and made fast the hawsers. They then got out upon the seashore, mixed their wine, and got dinner ready. The swineherd does seem to be a skilled teller of tales. Oh, do you mean is he lying? Oh, that I couldn't tell ya. I feel like, shouldn't Odysseus know this? Shouldn't he know this story? It sounds like Odysseus's father traded several servants, slaves, for this young boy, for the swineherd when he was a young boy, and that Odysseus's mother, when the swineherd was a little kid, like, raised him in her house. Yeah, but surely he would have heard about it at some point. Like, unless he's just completely disinterested in the lives of his servants. I don't know. As soon as they had had enough to eat and drink, Telemachus said, "Take the ship onto the town, believe me here, for I want to look after the herdsmen on one of my farms. In the evening, when I have seen all I want, I will come down to the city, and tomorrow morning, in return for your trouble, I will give you all a good dinner with meat and wine." Then Theoclymenus said, "And what, my dear friend, is to become of me? To whose house, among all your chief men, am I to repair? Or shall I go straight to your own house, and to your mother?" "At any other time," replied Telemachus, "I should have bidden you go to my own house, for you would find no want of hospitality. At the present moment, however, you would not be comfortable there, for I shall be away, and my mother will not see you. She does not often show herself even to the suitors, but sits at her loom weaving in an upper chamber, out of their way. But I can tell you a man whose house you can go to. I mean Eurymachus, the son of Polybus, who is held in the highest estimation by everyone in Ithaca. He is much the best man and the most persistent wooer of all those who are paying court to my mother and trying to take Odysseus's place. Zeus, however, in heaven alone knows whether or no they will come to a bad end before the marriage takes place." As he was speaking, a bird flew by upon his right hand, a hawk, Apollo's messenger. It held a dove in its talons, and the feathers, as it tore them off, fell to the ground midway between Telemachus and the ship. On this, Theoclymenus called him apart and caught him by the hand. "Telemachus," said he, "that bird did not fly on your right hand without having been sent there by some god. As soon as I saw it, I knew it was an omen. It means that you will remain powerful, and that there will be no house in Ithaca more royal than your own." "I wish it may prove so," answered Telemachus. "If it does, I will show you so much goodwill, and give you so many presents that all who meet you will congratulate you." And then he said to his friend Piraeus, Piraeus. Piraeus. Then he said to his friend Piraeus, Piraeus, son of Clytius, you have shown yourself the most willing to serve me of all those who have accompanied me to Pylos. I wish you would take this stranger to your own house, and entertain him hospitably till I can comfort him. And Piraeus answered, Telemachus, you may stay away as long as you please, but I will look after him for you, and he shall find no lack of hospitality. As he spoke, he went on board, and bade the others to do so also, and loosed the hawsers, so they took their places in the ship. But Telemachus bound on his sandals, and took a long and doughty spear, with a head of sharpened bronze, from the deck of the ship. Then they loosed the hawsers, thrust the ship off from land, and made on towards the city, as they had been told to do, while Telemachus strode on as fast as he could, till he reached the homestead, where his countless herds of swine were feeding, and where dwelt the excellent swineherd, who was so devoted a servant to his master. End of chapter. Hi, Hungflow. Hello. Welcome. Okay, Zendri. Almost stout. Is it stout and lusty? Thank you. Oh man. Oh man. Okay, well, but next. But the next chapter is when Odysseus and Telemachus are reunited. Hi, Youngflow. We read books here. That's what we're doing. We've been reading the Odyssey. Welcome. You're in bed, Chompy? Heck yeah. Getting coos. Getting coos. And then they get their I have no idea. I don't think Telemachus has any memory of his father. He was a baby when Odysseus left. Okay, I would have definitely gotten the reference, but I appreciate the consideration there. Thank you for the follow, booty eating bandito. Damn. That's wow. Right on. Welcome in. How are you doing? Odysseus is like 50? I don't know. He might be like in it 40? He could be as young as 40. It would not have been weird for him to be like married to Penelope and had their first kid with him being like around 20. Yeah, he left for the Trojan War in his 20s, so he's in his 40s. Yeah. Time is real, whatever-y. Yeah. Yeah, there is a bit of that, especially with all the like flashback story scenes and stories within stories. Yeah. There's a lot going on. He's been gone for 2 decades trying to get home, and the war only 5 years? Okay. Yeah, it just took them a really long time to get home. Like, how long was he with Calypso? At least, like, he was there for a long time, right? I'm trying to remember. But also, they seem, it's like, you know, they stop for Circe, and she's like, oh, you guys, you should rest before setting out on the voyage. And like, yeah, okay, that sounds really reasonable. But then they just stay there for a whole year. A year with Circe. So they really take their time when they're traveling. 7 years with Calypso, Jonathan? Cersei had a really great wine. Yes, I'm sure that's the only reason. Okay, well, oh, man, I'm so tempted to read the next one because I really want to see what happens. But also, we've been streaming for 4 hours overall on Twitch. 2.5. We've been reading for 2.5 hours. I need to stand up and stretch. Do you guys want to vote on whether we read the next chapter now or whether we switch into ASMR and save the next chapter for Tuesday night? Yeah, let's vote. I'll let you guys vote. You will have 3 minutes to vote. That's happening on Twitch. I am going to stand up and stretch. You guys can look at the guinea pigs, and I'll be right back. Alright, the vote has ended, and majority rules that we will be switching over to ASMR now. But don't fret. Do not fret for those who are When people vote wrong, it shouldn't count. I mean, it's hard to argue with that logic. Either way, though, we will be back to reading on Tuesday night. That's only 2 days away, and oh my goodness, what an exciting chapter we will be coming back to. Right? I am gonna be, oh my god, I'm on tenterhooks. We're being left on tenterhooks. It's fine. We can handle it. Now, we are going to, sorry, I just wolfed down a protein bar during that 3-minute break. We're gonna keep going on Twitch for a little bit. I see that Sean has just very kindly posted the link to my Twitch stream in both of the YouTube chats. Not tenterhooks, tenterhooks. They were actually the hooks that fabric would be stretched on. Oh wait, oops. I'm sorry for people watching in vertical. I forgot to switch the scene back. I'm sorry. Hello. Yeah, no, tenterhooks. It's like when people were stretching fabric, there would be hooks along the wall that they would hook the fabric onto. So it just means feeling tension. Yeah, it kept thick fabric from shrinking when it dried. Yeah. Yeah, but it's, yeah. Okay. Sorry, yeah, it's like a Hellraiser type thing, not, I don't know. No, it's like a old-fashioned laundry kind of thing. I don't know. None Good Left says kinda, so maybe. Legatory, thank you for the follow. Thank you. And a massive thanks to everyone who watched this stream over on the YouTube channel. It really helps, oh my goodness, with accruing those watch hours. There's a lot to build up, and we are, you know, we're getting closer. We are creeping our way towards 1,000 watch hours. We need 3,000 to unlock the first stage of the partner program. So, you know, we're making our way. Yeah, exactly, none good. Hi, Legatory, hi. Hellraiser uses hooks and the imagery to build a sense that it was a hell dimension. Oh, you know, these are very, like, smaller hooks. Yeah. It's just to prevent, yeah, shrinkage of the cloth. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you to everyone who watched on YouTube. If you did, if you don't mind, you know, dropping a like, including, like, after the stream ends and this becomes a VOD. If you want to drop a like, that really helps. Also, if any of you have not yet subbed to the YouTube channel, again, that is another thing. We're trying to hit those numbers, and I would very, very much appreciate it. We will, I guess if we're going live, YouTube will be going live on the other YouTube channel. So, yeah, you can find us over there as well. No, it's all good, none good. Alright, so bye YouTube. I will see you guys on Tuesday. We should be back to read more. So, bye YouTube. Bye YouTube.